kitchens. The utensils are not of same size typically, the bigger size utensils. So we need drawers. Also has internal accessories which also.
Yes, you do get partitions for accessories, and then you do get things. So you will have a shallow drawers for all your spatula, spoons, etc. You can have a deep drawers for pots and pans. So you have also your corners can be used well. You can have your magic corner, and probably you need some wicker baskets for all your onions and all that. So I'm sure the designer can lead with you with all these things, so to make it a very comfortable kitchen. And of course, you will. It's always better to go for built-in hob, chimney, and your microwave because it looks much smarter tucked in. Of course, there are available at different price points depending on which brands
So
that
if
you
we are
want.
not concerned about price point, how maintenance wise is it a good choice?
Yeah, I don't think there's a problem. If you go for reliable firm, there's no issue. Our clients have not had any issues. And invest in a good chimney because there has to be enough suction to take away the smell. Otherwise, your whole living, your dining, and the living could have the smell of the kitchen, which is not.
And so one more thing, when cooking is happening, the backside
backsplash, yes.
Backsplashes. So there are some say that go with the same granite, you go with that, you go with quartz.
That's purely a personal choice. You just one very important thing is, of course, you can't leave it like that. You need tiling. You need a tile so that all the grease and everything can easily be wiped off. Whether you want to take the same granite up, it's up to you.
And lacquered glass, it's a
lacquered
now
glass
people
looks
suggest
good,
it looks good,
but I'm not very sure about.
Are you a fan of it?
Not necessarily, but I would not really go into thing. It depends on the whole kitchen concept and whether the kitchen design actually flows with the rest of your house. Very important that there is a seamless transition between your dining aesthetic and your kitchen aesthetic. It shouldn't look like suddenly some other house kitchen, just because you saw somebody else's kitchen and like the color. So that's important.
Perfect, sir. Thank you so much for answering all the technical sides of it.
Yes.
And now coming to more about understanding from your view, your philosophy and all. So you must have read Fountainhead by Ayn Rand.
Yes.
Right? So there is one protagonist, Howard Rourke. He is a very idealist architect.
Yes.
He wants what he wants. He wants his own designs. And if design is not as per what he wants, he is willing to blow that building off because he is not happy with that. Yeah. But in today's time in collaborative effort, because architects are, as an individual, they are someone who embodies both design and function, because function typically it's a lot of maths involved in lines and numbers, and design is involved that how a person lives. So it's an intersection of two important to create. One is creative, one is analytical. Both are coming together. And then we have clients, because clients would not have all the answers that what they exactly want, but they will give you some tidbits of it, then you design it. How do you work with client in that, how your philosophy works? Because as a expert, this will work, this is required, this design is required, but as a client he will have so many ideas, being overwhelmed with that. So how do you balance that both stuff?
That's an interesting question. See, I think when we were in college, somebody mentioned about Fountainhead and we read it, and it was hugely inspiring for us. But when it comes to actual practice, it's slightly different. One is we all have to make a living first of all. If I were to be too idealistic, probably I won't be making money. Probably be designing one house in my whole lifetime, and that's not going to sustain me, right? So that's one thing. But secondly, I think more importantly, I think we as architects should also realize and that we are problem solvers. That means what I'm trying to say is, say you come to me to build your house, right? So you have a certain set of requirements. So we come up with a solution to solve your problems, right? So I think, and ultimately we have to realize that it's your hard-earned money that you're putting to build a house, right? It's your vision. You're going to be staying there, not me. You're the one that you're going to stay in the house that you require. So it's very important that we design as per your requirement. It's very important that our design responds to the client's requirements. It's not just one design fits everything. So we try to make sure that every house that we design is planned to the individual's needs, because now a home is not just about one person. He has a wife, he has children, he has got in-laws, his parents. Many people come says the ground floor should be my parents because they age, they can't move up. Now we have incorporated lifts in most of our project post-COVID. People don't know when they will need a lift. So I think the most important aspect of design is to address the user needs. So yes, so we always tell our clients that, see, you're the one living there. It's not going to be me. So we'll try our best to, come up with a design solution that suits you and your extended family. Second thing is, very importantly, is that budget. I think that's important. So when the client comes, I always ask them what is the budget, so to understand, because there's a particular cost per square feet that you need to work within, and all the costs that are being peddled on the internet is not true. It costs that much more. You can't say like people saying they build a house 1,800 rupees, 2,000 rupees. That's not going to happen. I mean, that's going to be a severely compromised house. You need a little bit more. Of course, that is done in the BOQ. We try to figure that out, but always we try to work within the client's budget. So when the client is saying that it's got a limited budget, we try to pare down the finishes, which I was telling you, but get this, not no compromise the structure, and probably you can expand and add. And if there's a severe budget issue, we always tell that, okay, design your building, your foundation for G+2 floors, but build only G+1 now, because see, I can't build a lot of area and also expect it to fit in my wallet. So you can look at an expanded house later. So whatever you build it properly.
So budget, so what I understand, budget is something client should be free to let the architect know, this is our budget. They should not worry that architect will judge you or will say that you are coming with this budget only. It's good for planning perspective from architect also, that he can design, define, he can also suggest better ideas. So that's okay to let the architect know this is our budget. And it's okay for architect also to be very clear that, okay, if your budget is there, I'm very willing. So this is two flow.
It's very important.
Information, so it should happen.
So I feel like, as I said, that we should address
that's an honest conversation of budget should happen without negotiation. Perfect. Now, just building on that, this we discussed about long lasting things. So in Kannada there is a song which I heard of Raghu Dixit. Lokada Kalaji Madatti Nanti Nimgya Vedantara Madappa Sinti. It's like, it's about time and it is very limited and you have to worry. Now the question here is that as an architect you have designed something, and of course building has higher probability of outlasting as humans, what we are doing. So how do you think about it, that this building will outlast? What comes into your mind? What is your design philosophy when you're designing, assuming that it will last for longer? Because our temples, which have lasted for thousands of years, so that is a different point, different materials. But now when you design in present time, so in 2025 you're designing home, what comes into your mind that if how this building will survive 2050 or 2060 if nothing happens?
I think most of the designs that we do, we try to future proof it as much as possible. That is, of course, addressing our immediate needs, and the client himself thinks of 10 years hence or 20 years, but he himself doesn't know what's going to happen after 40 years.
No one knows.
So we try to address the current needs. Of course, the most important thing is the immediate needs and probably 10 years hence. And because nowadays in India, I think once a building, so I have clients asking me how long will my building last, so questions like that. So I tell them it will last your lifetime, don't worry about that, but I can't put a number on it. I can't say if it's going to 50 years, 100 years, 70 years, it depends. But I think you must have noticed that a very important change is happening in Bangalore. If you take dense areas like Indranagar, Jayanagar, JP Nagar, or any Rajajinagar and all these places, one interesting thing that's happening is that I think this is where our bylaws should also change with the times, because we are stuck with an old 2015 bylaws actually. So I think the government is working on it, and we need to come up with new bylaws which address proper setbacks, which are practical also, based on FAR. But if you see the old houses, they're all being demolished, and people are coming with a stilt floor and 3 floors. Why is this happening? That's happening because, say, my father owned a house and he bought a plot as there. Now I have got two sisters, say we are 3 of us. So once it passes down, after one generation gets over, the others need to build there. Now, for me, it's not feasible. It's very difficult for me unless I'm super rich to buy a plot in Indranagar or Jainagar or wherever, right? And I have always lived in a house. I don't want to move to an apartment. So what happens is probably the property is given to the children. Then each has their requirements. Then now there are 3 families, right? And now, as you know, in park, one very important issue that I want to address is parking. As you know, that probably 3 families, 3 cars, 4 cars. So when you have a stilt, so the future is a little vertical. It will take 2 or 3 floors. I think now the BBMP has a new provision of G+4 also, with reduced setback. There's a gazette notification coming. So it realized that, you you cannot just do with a ground or a ground plus one building. In that happened when Bangalore was a sleepy city long back, probably 1980, 1990 or even 1970, but not now. We need to go vertical because that is the need of the hour, right? So there's a change happening. We have to design for future generations, but it's very important that every house that we design has adequate parking, because now some clients say, I'll park it on the road, it's okay. But just imagine if everybody thinks that,
I
what will
don't
happen?
think so. Anyone can be so
Just
casually saying they can park it on the
yes,
road.
some people have said that one will park inside, one will park on the road. But I think we should get out of the mindset. It's not anybody's fault. It's a mindset issue. We should look that whatever we are designing should hold all my cars inside, not outside on the road. If you see all these areas, you have, and then you have also we have a very big conflict between residential and commercial areas. You have residential becoming commercial. So you have cars, valet cars coming and being parked right in front of your house. So all these are issues of urbanization, dense areas, yes. So, but however, when you're designing a house, I think you should take care of the needs and the immediate future needs. That's what we can look at. And yes, we try to strive for that, I think. And definitely a overdue kind of idealism may not work for me, or I'm not a big fan of that, though I respected and admired the novel at that stage when it was written. But in our context, I don't know if that works.
Perfect, sir. So I think this is about, now this is something which you would want to say to the future or the current, because you have so many interns working with you
Yes,
for practice, so many young people
Yes.
working under your wings. So what is one message you want to give it to them in terms of, so they understand this whole experience of yours since many decades?
Yeah,
What is something you want to tell them so that they are clear with this changing world? Because we have seen from all the lenses, 1970s,
Yeah.
abhi kya ho raha hai, you know everything. So what do you
Yes, I think there's a lot of. I mean, I have a lot of things to say to upcoming architects, because we take every batch we take around 8 to 9 interns, and we have interns from all over India. We are exposed to people from different colleges. But if you're going out there to study architecture, I have a few very important vital points to say. One is, get into architecture only if you really love design and you think. Don't think that, a lot of people make the mistake of saying that. I asked some students, they said, why did you take up architecture? They said, I can draw well. But that's not the be all and end of it, right? You should be passionate about design, colors, textures, forms. You should be able to relate to buildings. And believe me, architecture is a tough course. Initially, it doesn't pay like software. Like, as you know, like almost everybody you know is going to CS, AI, ML, data sciences, you know it. But there is no talk about any other subjects like core sciences. So now there's a renewed interest in core subjects, actually, core sciences, because there's a talk that AI might take over all the computer science jobs in the future.
I think that is
may happen, may not happen,
that
because
is
might happen. But architecture, again, architecture, building construction, civil engineering is a core subject.
it's a very
It's
very
a core
subject.
subject, and I think it's great if you're passionate about it. So first is, you should have a passion for it. Please don't take it if you're not passionate about it.
Architecture is
I think
actually
two professions. I think one is being an architect and being a doctor. I think you cannot take it if you're not genuinely passionate, because these are very critical subjects that you're going to get into. Second thing is, do due research into which college you're getting into, because there are a lot of nice colleges out there in India. Try to prioritize getting to the best colleges, so you have the best learning environment and the best teachers out there. Third thing is, though you get into the best colleges, don't expect teaching will happen in the college. This is very, very important. Outside class, be observant, attend architectural talks by experts, be aware of what your other peers are doing. Try to do different things. These are something that I wish we could have done in college. But go out of the box, go out of your classroom for learning. Carry a sketchbook with you, sketch everything what you see, observe life. It's a very visual, architecture is a visual profession. So I think you need to keep sketching, get proportions in mind. That's very, very important. And I think in third or fourth year, go for internship, try to pick up good firms to intern, so that you can have the best, you can have, and be very serious in your internship, because you learn a lot, because that is the bridge between the outside world and college. And lastly, I think upskill a lot. There are a lot of good courses on Coursera and other things like that. So, and in architecture, you may be interested in different lines. You may be interested in landscape architecture, conservation architecture, product design, apparel design. There's so many other things that you can branch off, which are sub branches of design, right?
I knew someone. They switched from they completed that architecture from a very reputable college, and they moved into software.
Yes.
App designs and all,
yes,
UI,
UI,
UX
UX,
and all.
US,
It's complete shift.
yes.
But it helps across that design
Yes,
philosophy.
because the design thinking. So basically, it's called design thinking. Design thinking can be applied in every field. But architecture is a very niche field because you're creating building spaces, things like that. So I don't think architecture is rewarding. It's a very tough line, but go there only if you're really passionate, as I said. But once you go and then work for a good firm for 1 or 2 years, and if you want to just go on your own, please get that experience. Don't experiment on clients. Get that
it
experience
cannot be
before.
immediate startup
Yeah,
in this particular field.
you need practical knowledge.
need
Just being able to design and making space is not good enough. You need to know about materials. You need to know about structures, how structures stand. It's very important. That's why I think many of us made the mistake of not paying attention to structural design, because structural design you have to understand the core before you design. So you know that a building is actually implementable, is actually designable. That is one. And I think yes. And then if you want to move to a different field like building engineering management, landscape architecture, you can do masters. There are very good courses in India. SP has got it, CEPT has it. You can do so. Probably branch out. And environmental engineering, I think sustainability design is very, very big in Europe and the UK and the US, and India also is catching on. So I think that's subject that if you have a bent towards design and intersection of design and environment, there are a lot of courses that to do. But I think you got to innovate a bit, try to do something different, because the being there done that, believe me, the competition among architects is huge. There's so many architects around our area, and of course this will become more and more competitive because many people are starting on their own. So you need to have some X factor. You just can't rely on being average. Average is not good enough. So.
And here the cost of mistake is very high, because it's like whatever you are doing, it will be getting built. So if any mistake, it will directly. Architect is the owner of that.
Yes. So it's very important that another very important thing is that when clients hire architects, a little bit experience should be there. They should not be experimenting on you or
exactly, because this is their only home.
Whatever
they're designing. Yes. That's awesome, sir. Now this final part of it where we want to discuss. Is AI impacting how architecture is changing? Artificial intelligence, ML, how does it help right now? Do you think it touching the industry?
AI, ML, yes. Artificial intelligence has impacted design, and we have also started using it in a small scale. Not because many of the softwares that we use has an AI enhancer or AI thing. So
but it is more of an additive part. It cannot completely change, because whatever
AI can't design, but maybe in the future we don't know, but it can design, but it can be a starting point. And we have AI plugins for all our rendering softwares, which gives a much better output. It changes the elements, but we have to be careful while not using.
There is always a human required to make sure that things are according. And of course, this is the. And one more thing about architecture, that architecture also handles a big proportion of weight of Indian infrastructure.
Correct. Yeah.
This is what it is. It's a very core sector overall, and it's very responsible. Here, the chance any mistakes will cost lives also sometimes.
Yes, correct.
So that's why, as you said, it really makes sense. I think I have done with all of my questions, and thank you so much for giving such a wonderful insight on everything, and giving your time. I have known you since last many years. I even worked with you for some of the design projects, but I think for the first time I am listening to you, and the way you said everything, that is very insightful. I think thank you so much, sir, for being with us, giving us your time. And as we close, we would also want to show your office. You shoot your office.
Yeah, sure. You can do that. We have a small, humble office. You can shoot it definitely.
But it feels very calm, composed. It feels like an architect's office. I feel like that, if I come here, my brain has gone blank completely. There's always 1,000 thoughts running, because here the focus is of different level. That is what is required. So
sure.
I think thank you so much, sir, for your time.
Thanks for having me on the platform, and for me to talk about a few things that I feel very strongly about. And thanks again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your time, sir.